Hello and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Winona and today I'm going to be playing a Scribbles Scrambles. And I'm with the amazing, the wonderful, my awesome friend.
Uh, I'm Oatmeal, and I'll be playing the professor today.
Mm-hmm. And I say, what is the professor doing right now?
Well, the professor has had, honestly, I think you could just say a time of it recently. But he has some business with Scribbles that he was not able to resolve. Um, when it came up, but now that sort of the other things going on have calmed down a little bit, he's got time to confront Scribbles about it. So he is going to his apartment.
Nice.
So I think I mean he knows where it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I'm gonna roll for that, but
Yeah, it's just a plain apartment building. You got the address from the card.
yeah. Um, well, there's a knock on the door.
Yeah, and it opens the door to at first you don't see anyone, but then you see a little scratch and he waves towards you and he turns yellow and um he goes up to hug you and you may want to
Uh,
make a wisdom save really quickly.
uh, remind me, is this is Little Scratch?
This is little scratch. This is a little ball of
Okay,
scribble scratch.
got it. Let's see. Oh gosh. All right, well I got a 4.
Oh, yeah, you're pretty shocked when you hear in your head, Professor, 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 it's good to see you. Let's finally say it's been a while. I've missed you a lot. Also, I can talk now, but I can only touch through telepathic touch through people. It's a whole thing. I can't wait to say, yeah, it's good to see you.
Oh my goodness. I'm he's just he's a little like stilted because this is not exactly what he expected when he opened the door, but he says that's wonderful, Scratch. I'm glad to hear that. Good to see you again too.
Yeah, yeah. I say, Dad's right inside. I say he's in the library. I'll go get him as he then flies off.
Uh-huh. He nods his head. Ah. Yeah, that's right. Scratch is also here. This is yeah. He's honestly hoping that there's not anyone else in the apartment because he knows that Scribbles has some people stay here. Uh
Yeah, and
so
as you like look in slash walk in, say there seems to be no one else in the apartment.
mhm.
And say I, s- I still need time to or to actually make an updated copy of this. I have been putting it off for so long. I need to do it, but say this is a pic of Scribble's apartment. It has a kitchen right away to the left. And say you see a living room area on the other side. You see a chest. And then you also say it's not in the picture right now, but say you see a table that is full of flowers, different flowers.
Mm, that's nice.
Yeah, and it doesn't take too long for Scratch to come back out, and Scriffles is right behind him. I was like, Professor, uh, nice for you to drop by.
Yes, Scribbles, we need to talk. We
Oh,
need to have a serious talk.
oh. As he closes the door to the library and goes over to the table. Okay. What's wrong?
I met your sister.
Yeah, you don't need an insight. He freezes. His hair becomes a mixture of like, the curls are like almost flat, but yet they're sort of a little bit spiky. And
Mhm.
Scratch, meanwhile, is a mixture of purple and blue. A little bit more
Mhm.
purple.
Yeah. Um yeah, the professor just kind of like stands with his hands in his pockets and he says, I think I need you to explain yourself.
And he rubs his hand through his hair, his scribbly hair. He's like, "Sit down, please."
Hmm. Yeah, he'll sit at the kitchen table.
What did my sister say specifically?
Well, I met your sister the day after she disowned you. Well, no, not the day after. The day. About an hour after she disowned you.
I need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-huh.
You could tell that his hair becomes slightly spiky, but
Hmm.
there's still he's still keeping himself calm. He's like, "I thought you were supposed to mess with the past."
I didn't mess with it. She the ellipsis just took me there. There was and he pauses again and he says, there was a distress call of sorts. I answer those.
Oh, so it's natural in a way. And the hair on his head like relaxes a bit. It becomes less spiky and more back to the lower like the more shrunken
Mm,
like
just sort of normal.
yeah, sort of normal.
Yeah, he says it's a case of it having always happened that way. Not my going back and changing established events.
He nods. I see. Is she okay? I mean, it's if it was that night, I mean, I don't know. That night, he just sighs and like arms are on the like leaning on the table. I don't like talking about what I did in the past because it's in the past and I'm trying to be a better person now. The scribbles that was back then and the scribbles that I am right now are two completely different versions of me. I did stuff. I said stuff to my family that I am not proud of now. I did stuff to other people that hurt them in some way. Not physically, but most likely mentally and also with their standing. I used to take advantage of people. Made I sometimes took advantage of them. Can I'm not proud of what I did
What changed?
that night. The night that you've met my sister. She is a kind soul. She always saw the best in me, and she always was by my side, even when my parents were against me and kicked me out of the house. She tried to reason with them. she doesn't have a bad bone in her body. But that night, she snapped. She turned on me. The one person I thought would never turn on me, and thought, I thought everyone was just being too critical of me. But she snapped. She turned on me. She disowned me that night, too. And I realized that the way I viewed the world was entirely wrong, and viewed myself. You most likely didn't see it, but then after she left, I immediately packed up my stuff and I left UPA. I left the city, I left the continent, but it wasn't by teleportation circle or anything. I literally took a walk. I walked and traveled all the way from UPA to Toontown. And along the way, I learned a lot of stuff. And eventually, I met you.
That is quite the journey.
Yeah, learned a lot when I was on it. Some the easy way, a lot of times the hard way.
Hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, you have indeed changed for the better.
Yeah, I like to think so. But I'll be honest with you, Professor, I'm so scared of ever going back.
Mm.
I'm not even sure if I'll ever be ready to go back. After after what I've done for so many years, I don't think there's anything left for me back home.
Well, that's understandable. You may have a chance with your sister. It would be, I think, uh, it might be worth reaching out just to give them give her the opportunity to, if she wishes, see how you are now. And even if she doesn't want to reconnect, it may bring some peace of mind to see that you aren't the same as you were then.
Yeah, Scribble is quiet for a little bit, and Scratch is rubbing up against Scribble and trying to comfort him. I don't know. Maybe. I feel like I'm too much of a coward to even try.
Mm. She was quite distraught over it. She really had hoped that she wouldn't have to disown you, and seemed to regret that she had to.
Scribble is silent again.
I
May
think you may you may owe her at least um some notice that you've at least tried to change.
mm,
Whether you feel confident enough or not.
He sighs. Maybe, yeah. I still care about her. I sometimes wonder how she's doing in her little stationery shop, and I, again, just regret everything has happened in all the years. It's just hard to think that after what she said la- last time we met was that she would ever even begin to try to forgive me, though I would never blame her if she never truly did.
Mm.
Though I'm sorry that you had to get get be notified of this family drama. It's my burden to bear.
Mm. Well, you'll never mind that. I get involved in everybody's business at some point or another.
I just try to not talk about it as much as I need to because again, the scribbles I was then and the scribbles as I want now are two different scribbles, and I don't want to think about the past that much because I'm trying to move forward from it.
There is merit in that. However, I would warn you not to fall into the uh, common mistake of uh, ignoring your past so much that you forget it and uh, thereby doom yourself to repeat parts of it.
I don't think I would forever forget about it. If anything, I would just let it be. I would just. It would haunt me for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
Callie. He just sighs again and Scratch gives him another hug. Again, she's just too kind. And I don't know, maybe just start off with a letter. Maybe that's a good way to start.
I think that would be a great way to start.
Yeah, but is there anything else you want to ask me about? I mean, I am an open book.
Uh, Admittedly, it was mostly that. I was most concerned that if you hadn't changed as much in a year as you seem to have, that um, that I would have to warn people who
Scribble
have made themselves close to you.
Scribbles nods. A fair say a fair assumption, and I don't blame you in the slightest at all. But I like to think that I have changed a lot for the better. As he, like, instinctively, you say, maybe you've not noticed this before, but you say Scribbles is bringing notice of it now as his hand goes up to what looks to be a crescent moon, but has a little moonstone gem that's in the shape of the heart. I
Hmm,
never want to hurt the people that I love now.
I can see that, and I think they can see it too. I spoke with TOC recently, and they seem to regard you as uh, quite the responsible family member.
Wait, TOC? And he's just like questioning because he's just like he's actually never heard of say he's only heard of TOC being referred as talk.
Ah, yeah, he sort of tilts his head a little bit and he says, "The ticked off chicken?"
Ticked off chick. He then just like is silent for a minute. And this just sighs and face palms himself. I oh my gosh. Now that's embarrassing.
You didn't.
I've known TOC as talk for the whole time that I've been with them because that's what Marigold tells them. So I just assumed that talk was their name.
Oh, well, yes and no. You're not wrong, but no, it seems to be, at least they told me it was an acronym.
I was never informed or about this. And he just starts laughing. Oh, I, they never corrected me or anything. They just kept letting me kept call them talk. Now I'm just really embarrassed.
Well, perhaps they don't mind.
Maybe, but still. Ugh. Yeah, I recently talked to say TOC about well a different matter, and
About Marigold.
he looks like he was surprised. You know about it?
I know I know what TOC told me. We had quite an involved discussion
Scribbles nods. Yeah, for our daughter, she's in danger, and I'm not very
mm.
sure if he asked you. I'm not very sure if they asked you for help, but I
Mm.
wish to ask you for help if keep at least keep an ear out just in case if you hear anything about Liar Grandeur.
If I hear about a who,
That's the person that is after would be after Marigold.
that name again, if you would.
Liar Grandeur.
Liar Grandeur. I see.
And he then also gonna make a hammer space roll. Okay, now what? He takes out a green like book, but it opens up to be like a notebook, and he shows that I say I don't have the picture on me right now, but it shows them
Mm-hmm.
a trademark of Liar Grandeur, which is a fancy G. This is their
Mm-hmm.
trademark. So if you see any similar symbols or this trademark again, let us know.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I'm
I
also
will.
thank you. I'm also hoping to get a friend of mine who's a detective, hopefully, maybe partially on the case at least. At least she has a large array of networks in her business, and hopefully they can find Liar or at least keep an eye on him.
Detective Moria?
Scribbles looks at uh, Scribbles looks at the professor confused. No, her name is Little Lynn Stagehand.
Oh, I don't think I've heard of her. Oh, oh, just curious. I've made the acquaintance of uh two detectives recently, and they both had a connection to Detective Moria, so I thought that might be it. But stagehand, hmm.
Yes, the Stagehand's Requiem is her business, but recently moved out of Toontown. But there's still a mailbox that is where it originally stand. But I got to know Detective Stagehand through my girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah, and he blushes and his hair turns to heart shapes. You were right.
uh, good.
Yeah, we've been we've been dating for a little bit now.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but anyways, I met her through my girlfriend, which is a story that is long and doesn't really matter in the true perspective of things, but I
Hmm.
met her and she actually helped me a lot with me and Scratch. And she has a she is connected to a genius loci, which is her built her own stagehand's requiem. And well,
Oh,
he scratched like turns yellow and smile. It looks like he's smiling. Well, helped us become closer.
oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, also figured out that Scratch is an entirely new being, possibly.
R what? Really?
Yes, Scratch is what I'm calling a Uda Magicae, a being made up entirely of magic, who has a soul that, say, again, is entirely made of magic, but has a soul.
That's incredible.
Scratch smile. Scratch looks like he smiles and goes over to the professor and touches their hand. Yeah, it's really cool. I say network is like helped me through some stuff, and I say Lynn is very nice, and we even learned how to say she even like we were writing a whole paper and everything, and it's really cool.
Well, that's lovely.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's that's amazing.
yeah. It's still very much in the family of the genius family. There's, I say I'm not very sure if you know, but there's like living machines, living cars, living anim and living objects, but also living buildings.
Well,
And
certainly, certainly.
yes, and this is just another branch of that family. It's just Uda Magicae.
Right. But you made Scratch. That's that's I mean, the fact that this sort of being exists does not surprise me so much as that you just
Scribbles nods. Yeah, it's still somewhat of a mystery of how, like, my theory is from what I've been told through Lynn and some other sources, genius loci in particular are partially made out of love, the other half being a strong connection to the magic of Inkwell.
Mhm.
And creativity, from what I've been told, does bring a lot of things to life, and also love. So I've always loved Scratch, and I feel like that was the partial how he became this sort of being.
Fascinating.
Scratch.
That's that's incredible.
Yeah, and for right now, I he's still very much connected to me. He can't. He's currently basically a very growing, developing child. They need my magic to develop further so they can eventually be able to create magic on their own.
Oh, certainly. Dependent.
Yes,
That's understandable.
yeah, he's in a baby sort of phase, and Scratch turns a little bit red. I'm not a baby. It's like girl smiles. That's you are not. I mean, this is what the developmental studies are. You're very still dependent on me, but I'm not a baby. I'm smart. I know you're smart, Scratch. Just it's so this is science, and it's like, yeah. Yes, but it's very interesting. Say he's even able to, well, first partially, like, it's hard to explain. I have met a wizard named Faber who's an expert on the subject of various loci and genius, that that subgenre of magic, but
Mm,
and he was able to bring a object called amulata that would give a, well, it was supposed to be a form for loci in particular, but he also wanted to see what, well, I also wanted to see what would happen if one of, well, if Scratch went into it.
mhm.
And it surprised me as he then, he's going to make it, he's going to make another hammer space roll. Yep.
Mm.
And he takes out a blue book and opens a page, and there's a drawing inside. And the little picture of, see, I'll put it here, little picture that looks like this.
Oh.
And we were both surprised because this was a, it was called a ambulata imperfecta, a kind of a prototype where the doll,
Hmm.
say it looks like a doll. Yeah, it's over here. And Scratch flies off and to the flowers and comes back with a, what looks to be, one of those sort of art dolls.
Mhm.
Very simple wooden shape and stuff. It's like, I turned this into that.
Oh. Huh.
And the thing is, that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to stay as this wooden doll, but maybe
Oh.
so you could talk and stuff. So I say we weren't very sure how that happened, though Faber did mention that he has Scratch has a lot of magical power, which didn't really surprise me as much as he is a being made of magic.
Certainly.
But we also learned something else recently, that Marigold, there was an incident. Not very sure if TOC told you about it, but basically, well, we found out after that, well, Scratch can also power magical machines.
Uh, right. The same sort of machine that is Marigold's form currently, if
Not,
I understand right.
yes, but not only that. After after that happened, and after I personally talked to TOC about some stuff, which, well, family issues, and we weren't really communicating a lot. We're rectifying now. We're gonna have maybe tea once every week, hopefully, to keep everyone
Hmm.
in the loop about stuff. But that's besides the point. Yeah, I went out to buy some more magical machines, just simple sort of artificer stuff, where it's just like you touch it and your magic. If you're like a wizard or a sorcerer or bard or any sort of magic being, you could use your magic to power like a light bulb. And,
Certainly, certainly.
and we figured out that Scratch is very potent in magic, and,
Ah,
well, he was able to turn on the light bulb all right. He also made it explode.
I see.
Yeah, and Scratch goes back to the professor and touches his hand. Yeah, I feel like we've sort of made a thing if, well, if The machine isn't ready to harbor like large sums of magic like in, Marigold's body. It
Mm,
Stuff can happen.
mm-hmm.
Similar to you know how there are power source, say the transfer of electricity, how it can say there power plugs, like if it's not the right socket or something, that it
Mm-hmm.
overloads it or something. That's
Precisely.
Yeah. So that's sort of my theory right now with Scratch and his magic. If it's not connected properly, it could possibly overload and or make things explode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Wow, curious.
Yeah, and Scratch just turned yellow and looks like he's smiling, very proud of himself. But enough about me. What about you? Has everything. I remember last time that we talked that you were on a sort of a. It wasn't a case, but stuff was
Ah,
happening.
yes. The I believe I called it a conspiracy at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I was not wrong. Um, that was we thought it was the end of the danger, and indeed there was a calm period. But as it turns out, there were more insidious forces at work that we simply weren't aware of yet. But uh, I suppose, long story short, uh, there was a bounty hunter who's also a religious zealot, who's also a cannibal, who was also hosting a quarry, um, who had it out for a particular uh, well, he had it out for an old ally of his, but he had been hired to kill a particular family, hunt them down, which included the child that my friends and I uh had made friends with. So, of course, uh we took it upon ourselves to protect them, um, which led to a series of misadventures and misunderstandings as people, for various reasons, uh, kept information from each other and from us, that nearly ended in disaster, and, well, did end in disaster in some uh, some forms, but ultimately, I suppose you could say we apprehended the offenders and returned the um, members of the family to each other, uh, in their rightful places, and cleared up most of the mysteries. And we're all still uh, alive after all of that.
Well, I'm glad you're alive after all that. That seems really like a lot.
It was quite a lot. It
I,
was quite a lot.
I mean, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm more worried for the other members of my party. One of them got possessed.
Ah, I see. But even if nothing technically happened to you, adventuring is a very stressful job, or just taking, like, like you probably know this, but it's good to I mean, you're old. I mean, not that way, but but you you just need to also take care of yourself, you know?
Thank you. I am. I I appreciate the sentiment. Um, no, but I am all right.
All right. I'm glad at least most of the mysteries are wrapped up. Honestly, I'm maybe starting a mystery of my own.
Oh,
It,
yes?
yes, but the thing is, it's things these I'm usually supposed to keep this on the down low, but things maybe might be happening or some new evidence might come to light. One of my say the detective I was telling you about, Miss Stagehand,
Mm.
she recently been troubling some people have been well starting to make some records that usually don't. And I found at least some evidence of, well, it's not directly connected, but it's still strange in its own right. So I'm hope, and unfortunately, it's not, it's in a sort of language that I can't, well, re- can't, oh, what's the word? Translate, that's the word. Can't translate.
Do you
I,
recognize the language?
oh, I did. The moment I saw it, I did. It's connected to the a language that is connected to my girlfriend's deity.
Uh, ah.
Yeah, I'm not very sure if I should share all the details because not all the details are clear cut yet. I'm still trying to figure out if this is directly connected to the incidents that have been happening
Mm.
or this is something else entirely.
Well, you've told Celeste, surely, haven't you?
Of course, I brought to this up to her right away, and that's how she told me that this is uncommon to find the the spell tablet that I showed her that
Mm.
stuff like this is when you write in this language of her god, basically,
Mm.
it's usually always connected back to the god in some way. It's not like their version of common, as
Mm-hmm.
I originally thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I say we haven't fully translated it yet because it's connected to another person, and the other person wants to hopefully study this spell tablet, and maybe that'll shed some light on this case to see if this. It's just a whole mess of things that have a lot of gray areas and not a lot of ants. Say not say it could all be connected, but I'm not very
Mm.
sure, and I'd rather be sure than not sure, you know?
Of course. Hmm. Well, I wish you luck with untangling that one.
Thanks. I'll need it. It's definitely a tangle for sure. Especially when it's also possibly connected back to the university, and then if I have to go
Ah.
back to the university, that's gonna be a whole mess of things of itself. Of course, I feel like I know I do technically still have some allies back at the university, but there's also a lot of people that I pissed off.
Hmm.
Most of
Well,
it was the sports ball team.
the what?
Oh, you've never heard of sports ball, have you?
I maybe in passing, I'm not familiar with that sport.
It's a toon sport. It's a
Ah.
sport that is specifically designed for toons, and only toons can play it because of the long laundry list of rules and way things are played, which uh, it's a whole thing. I don't like it myself, but I hated it even more back when I was in university. And I single-handedly back then made us not go to the championships.
Oh no. Scribbles, how could you?
Listen,
He's
I listen. I was given the opportunity at the time to met. There was a group project that I was forcibly paired with three of the best sports ball players on our university team. Granted, I will still admit even now that they were jerks, but I forcibly made them fail that one assignment, which, if you don't know how sports in universities work, you have
Oh,
to
they
keep.
weren't allowed. They weren't allowed then, of course, to go to the game.
Yeah, because of their grades.
Uh-huh.
Pissed off the entire sports team and most of campus.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, you really have to behave yourself if you go back.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Granted, it was even a couple years ago since it was during sophomore year that I did this. So, but there's still very much resentment between the whole campus and especially with the sports ball team.
Understandable.
But anyways, I I say I may be getting into some plot relatively soon. Maybe I again just don't know. But I'm glad to hear that your, at least, adventuring life is settling down at least a little bit.
It seems so.
Mm. Has the ellipsis been running well? And Scotch nods and touches the professor. Yeah, is Ellie doing okay?
Oh yes, yes, she's doing quite well. Uh I quite a while ago there was a bit of a hiccup and we ended up 50 years in the past, but um quickly sorted that out. Um
Oh boy.
no, she's running better than ever. She's I've been refining her systems uh even more lately.
That's good. Looks like he's smiling again. I'm glad to hear that Ellie's doing alright.
Yes, she's holding up rather well.
Scratch smile. Scratch smiles. Let's see. Do you think we can go see her?
Oh, yes, you could.
Yay! It's been a while. I want to see. I say now that I can talk through touch and everything, maybe we can have a conversation. I don't know if that's possible, but say I just want to say she's nice and I want to see her again.
Oh, absolutely. No, you can certainly try. She's not really one for words, but she is telepathic.
Yeah, now that I am sort of telepathic, but it's only through touch again right now. But I say
Mm-hmm.
maybe when I get stronger, I can do full telepathy, and that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm. It certainly would. That'd be very impressive.
Yeah, and Scribbles laugh. Yeah, he's been very excited about having some new powers to play around with and having a physical form to touch stuff and even eat, apparently. Uh, Another strange thing that I've noticed that he doesn't technically need to eat, but he still takes I I want to just say it's similar to our digestive tracts where they convert food into energy,
Mm-hmm.
where it's similar to Scratch's to convert food into magic in a way, magical energy.
Well, some people do just uh like to eat recreationally, as it were.
Yeah, and Scratch does. Is a and Scratch nods. Yeah, I like to say I don't need to eat, but I like to eat because everyone else eats, and it feels and I feel sort of left out if I don't eat. And everything also tastes really good. Like my say, my mom made like some milk and like honey tea. It was really good.
Hmm.
But let's go, let's go. I want to see. I say I want to see Ellie. I want to see Ellie. Scratch
Hmm.
starts trying to pull the professor's hand.
Yeah, the professor will lead the way out of the apartment, um, and probably just down the street. I don't think he uh I don't think he's got her very far.
Mhm.
Um and invites them both in,
Mhm.
and uh
Yeah, Scratch immediately goes to the console and and start talking. Ellie, Ellie, hi. I say it's Scratch. Hope you don't mind me calling you Ellie. I say I thought maybe it'd be a cool little nickname, but if you don't like it, we can change it to something else. Or if you just want me to still call you the Ellipsis, you say I can. It's just say I just want to say I hope you're not say yeah.
yeah, she sort of gives a ping of like that's fine. Uh and um the professor is sort of like, even though Scratch is directly talking to the ellipsis, the professor seems to be at least like marginally looped into it somehow.
Mhm.
He says, you're not um oh, you're certainly not the first to call her that. She doesn't she's not terrifically picky.
Yeah, but I still want to like if if it's not something she likes, it's fine. And say so. I'd rather call her something that she does like, and I want to make sure she feels comfortable about everything. And
Yes.
Scribbles and
Uh,
sorry,
no, he just says, "Yes, that's admirable of you."
Scribbles looks at the professor interested. He's like, you can hear him too, even when you're not, he's not touching you.
Uh, Not exactly. I sort of just get a bit of an echo of her side. Um,
Oh, I see.
so I can sort of figure out a little bit through context.
I see. That's interesting. Say you're so connect. I mean, not surprised that you're connected to the ellipsis like that, but I say that's very interesting that you could still hear at least an echo of Scratch as he talks.
Yes, we're rather uh rather thoroughly connected, the ellipsis and I.
Out of curiosity, is it a soul bond?
Uh, well, uh, not formally, but I don't think it follows the same rules as a formal soul bond, but uh we do we do uh there there are there are certainly effects when we're uh separated for uh too long periods of time.
Hmm, interesting. Say Scratch and I are formally soul bonded. It's actually say actually realized through again Lynn. She told me about soul bonds, and we figured out that Scratch needs a formal soul bond for him to develop properly. That's how I feed him magic
Mm.
to for him to develop.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's interesting. Um, yes, no, she doesn't really uh need anything from me, strictly speaking, nor do I from her. It's um more elective, and technically she could get guidance from any time czar, but we've worked together uh long enough that I don't think she would put up with anyone else but me.
understandable. I was just curious. It's this again.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, I'd say you do have a very wonderful, well, machine. Say Lipsis is, and he pats the wall. Very impressive.
She she appreciates the compliment.
Yeah. Say Scratch smiles. Say Scribble smiles and Scratch sort of goes off and telling me Lipsis all what happened and everything and how he's developed and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So you can hear a repeat of the conversation of that what that Scribbles had. Just just a little excited Scratch just telling Ellipsis everything.
Mhm.
And Scribbles smiles at that. Yeah, but say anyways, if I know that everything seems to be cleared up or anything, but I hope after talking to me today that you still trust me.
I do. I've seen you in the here and now, and um like I told you, I believe in second chances.
Yeah, and I'm glad you do. And say if you want to add anything else, I can't really think of anything right now.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think I'm good with about where that is.
Yeah, and they leave them on a panic shot of Scratch just lore dumping everything onto the ellipsis, just happily chatting away.
Uh-huh.
Scratch
uh
Scratch like the ellipsis.
yeah. Aw. Okay. That's very cute.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening in on this little FPS. And I hope you have a good time zone. And bye.
Bye.